feel very excellent and alive in the leg, and like I have lots of stuff I need to do but not enough time to do it generally, you know.
Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to another class. It's Tutorial Tuesday. My name is Justin Taylor. We are here at Firestorm Freerunning and Acrobatics, and today's lesson we are going to build upon what we learned last week. Last week we went over the lunge to teeter-totter, the basic building blocks not only for tumbling but how to get into the start of your handstand position and proper body position. This week we're going to build on that with what is known as the walking up a wall handstand or a spider walk handstand. This is a drill that is going to allow us to start building the strength and balance in our forearm and shoulders and actually help hold us in that upside down position so we can get used to what it feels like to be in a handstand number one and build the strength like we talked about in our wrist flexors and our shoulders to be able to balance and maintain that handstand position. So without further ado, let's get started. Yeah! Today with this skill, the most important thing we're going to start with is proper body position. If you watched last week's tutorial, we talked about how to create a bridge through our shoulders to create a nice straight body from our hand all the way down to our foot. It's very important when we do this that we have a tight spine. Okay? We need a nice straight line to balance. So what you're going to do is twofold. Number one, you're going to grab them booty cheeks, them glutes, and you're going to squeeze them. As my old diving coach used to say, I want you to squeeze your butt cheeks together so hard that if I put a dollar bill between them, 4 quarters are gonna pop out. Boom, make change. Number two, you're gonna squeeze in that low tummy. Right here in your midsection is the biggest hinge in your body. So you're gonna lock below it on one side and above it on the other by squeezing here and here, locking your spine into a straight line. That gets everything here nice and straight. Now we need to squeeze those arms. Remember when you do this, you have your atlas and your axiom at the top of your head, okay? At the top of your spine, not the top of your head. So when you are moving your head, we want to use just those bones at the top of our spine to move our head, not our spine completely to move our head. This is going to keep everything in a nice straight line. It is very important to keep everything in a nice straight line in the beginning of learning your handstand. The reason for this is if you have that solid starting position, you can go into all kinds of weird handstands from there. If you try to go into a weird broken handstand position in the beginning, like some people that are very high end do because they know what they're doing, you are going to fall on your face and I will giggle at you in the comments. So make sure you have that nice straight line. Another reason to show that real quick is this guy. How many of you have ever grabbed a baseball bat, a stick, whatever, something that's a solid object from top to bottom? You balance it on your hand, right? As I move the base, I know where the top is gonna be because it is in a solid line and the weight is all nice and tight. Now, this beautiful lady right here is Vicky. Say hi, Vicky. Hello, everybody. Actually, I meant for you guys to say hi to Vicky, but that's cool, whatever, we'll make it work. Now, as you can see, Vicky has a bunch of little different bendy points. She's gonna be making little appearances from time to time as a guest star. Now, see how there's all these different hinges in her body? If everything here is hinged and I try to balance this thing, as soon as something bends on that hinge, whoop, there's just nothing I can do to balance that. So when you have your body, the last thing you want are a bunch of hinges trying to balance everything. We want a nice straight line to balance with to make your life a lot easier in the beginning. A good way to practice this is when you're doing it, you're gonna be on your hands, which means your hands are gonna become your new feet. Now, when I stand here and balance, let's make sure. Can you guys see my feet? All right. If you watch right here, if I squeeze my body in a nice straight line and I start to lean forward, okay, I can either bend at the waist and stick my butt back to pull myself back. If I do that in a handstand, I'm going to fall on my face. I want to keep this nice straight body. So how do I push myself back when I start to lean forward? I dig my toes into the ground and push as hard as I can, and that pushes me back, right? Now, if I start to tilt backwards over my heels, I have nothing to push into the ground. I will fall over. The same thing is true for your hands. When you're in your handstand, if you start to lean over your fingertips a little, we're going to squeeze and push our fingertips into the ground. As long as we keep a strong body position, it will help push us back into a handstand. If we start to fall over the palm of our hands or the heel of our hands, there's nothing to push back with, because this is where we're balancing from. There's nothing on this side to push myself back with. So in a handstand, we always want to be just slightly leaned over our fingertips. So now that we know we're creating that strong upper body, we're squeezing our low abs and our butt cheeks to create a straight line, and we've done our little drill of using our toes to see what it's gonna feel like, because we're gonna do the same thing and recreate it with our hands. We're gonna bring it over to the wall for our actual spider walk handstand. Now that we have a good idea of our body position and how we're gonna be using our hands to balance, it is time to get ourselves upside down on the wall. Always start really slow with this. Only go as much upside down as you feel comfortable. If you can't get all the way up to do the drill we're gonna do today, just slowly go up as high as you feel comfortable, hang out for a little bit, come on down. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna squat down on the ground, about a foot away from our wall or so. I'm gonna plant my hands shoulder width apart on the ground, and what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna slowly start walking my feet up. A very common mistake that people make is they keep their head up and they start walking their feet. At this point, I am not gonna be in a good solid position, number one. And number two, oh my goodness, it puts so much strain on your low back and your abs, it makes it very, very difficult. So what we're gonna do here is I am going to stick my booty up in the air like a stink bug and my head is going down. You'll notice now my head is kind of almost where it's supposed to be. I'm going to then put one foot up on the wall, and here's where you're gonna have to push down through the ground in your shoulders as you lift your second foot. We're gonna walk our feet most of the way up the wall. Now, if you're just starting out, getting something like this is a pretty good body position to start with. I can get here and I can start feeling the strain on my body and my joints. Because I'm far away from the wall, I'm gonna feel it a lot on my shoulders. What I wanna do to actually practice the balance is to slowly walk my hands in while keeping a straight line. Do not try to walk your hands like this and put your knees or your belly or anything on the wall. This is just put a lot of strain on your low back. It's gonna be unhappy and it's not gonna get you any extra balance. So I'm gonna walk myself in till I'm a little over a foot from the wall. My head is in a nice straight line in between my shoulders, and what I'm gonna do is slowly take 1 foot off of the wall. Now if you'll notice, if you watch carefully, as I move my foot further and further from the wall, my hips are starting to float from the wall. And at this point, you'll notice I'm not actually using the wall for balance anymore. My toe is here to touch in case I need it. I can bring my foot back, woo-hoo-hoo, and get my balance. But I can keep slowly pulling that foot. Do not arch your back as you do it, it will not help. You need to keep a nice straight line so my hips are slowly floating from the wall. And as I do this, I'm gonna feel the weight start to load up on my wrist flexors and on my fingertips. So I'm gonna practice pushing on my fingertips, pushes me back on the wall. Here again, push on my fingertips, pushes me back into the wall. From here, we're gonna maintain our straight body position, slowly walk our hands out from the wall. And when we're far enough away, while maintaining our head between our shoulders, we're gonna walk our feet down the wall and set it on the ground. When you first start doing this, it is gonna put a lot of weight on the back of your shoulders, all right? Take it easy as you come down, as this will wear you out. Okay, so now we've learned how to get up into our handstand, how to split our leg while keeping a straight body, to put the weight onto our wrist flexors and our fingertips, building that strength and balance and coordination that you're gonna need for your handstand. Let's talk about some of the main problems. Now, when people walk up, we already talked about sticking your head out, arching your back. You got loose abs, you got a loose spine. Handstands can become much more difficult. We really want to do that kinematic stacking. Remember, stacking one bone on top of the next, on top of the next, pulling all of them together into a single tight unit. If bones are going in different directions and stuff, you're using your muscles, tendons, and ligaments to hold, and they are a lot weaker than a bone. Another big problem, when you're doing this, what happens when your foot floats a little too far or a little too fast and you start to fall over? If you're just learning this drill, then you may very well fall flat on your back. That happens to the best of us. Two things. One, do it somewhere soft. Sand, use grass. If you have a gymnasium available, awesome, use a spring floor or a mat. Because if you fall over and you're not used to how to save yourself, you're probably gonna fall on your back, so you do want to start slow. Also very important, if you do fall over, tuck your chin. The last thing you wanna do is land on your head and compress your spine. You would like to have a rounded position so you roll down your spine. Still may not feel good, but it can be a lot better than falling flat on your head. I've done that many times. Don't do it. A very important thing to do is if you have your cartwheel already. We will be going over hand placement and different things for your cartwheel very soon, but if you have your cartwheel, a cartwheel out is a great way to save yourself. If you want to do a more advanced version, you can always cartwheel in. That's nice. Boop, up into our handstand. Now, if I am splitting my right leg, then my right hand is the one that would move to save myself. If I start to fall over, whoop, I move my right hand and I do a little cartwheel out. Same basic idea. If I'm splitting my left leg away, whoop, losing it, pull that left hand out, come down in a cartwheel and use that to save myself. Absolute worst case scenario, and this is a great thing to practice, is we just go here, 2 hands. I'm gonna put my head down, jump my butt up, and just move one hand 90 degrees over and bring myself back down in a tuck. Whee! Ooh. Okay, that is a great little drill that you can practice on both sides of your body to save yourself here. If you don't have your cartwheel left yet, then all I have to do is if I start to fall, whoop, move one hand and tuck. Remember, when you move that hand, you have to keep your head in line. If as I move my hand, I pull my head up, which is your natural instinctual reaction, your spine will arch. It won't be your feet coming to the ground first, it'll be your knees. And if you drop on both knees, especially on something hard, it's really gonna hurt. And what are you gonna owe me? 20 push-ups, 10 for each knee. That's the deal. So one more time, if I go here, I start to fall and I pull that head out. You can see I can barely get my feet down in time. My knees really wanna slam the ground. So keep your head down in between your shoulders as you practice this drill. If you have a good lunge to teeter-totter and you wanna practice your handstand, a great way to practice what we learned last week, that lunge to teeter-totter all the way up to our handstand, is to do it with our back against the wall instead of our stomach. So when we do this, I can come in here, I get in my lunge position. I want the distance from my back foot to my middle foot to be the same distance from my middle foot to my hands, which should be within a few inches of the wall. When I do this, I need to keep a nice straight body position. It is very common for people to arch their back to touch their feet first and then practice a really bad body position. So when I go here, I'm gonna set my feet down, kick up, and I have this nice straight body position here. What I don't wanna see is this. People with their hands far away doing this thing. You see this arch in my back? This is putting all the weight into my shoulder blades. Okay, this is not helping me at all. This will not do me any good. So when we do it, we must be very close to the wall. Please only do that one if you have already mastered the other position. Okay, we don't want to do this as a slightly more advanced version, and if you do it wrong, you can train yourself with bad body habits. That's not what we're about here. We're about doing it right the first time, taking our time, locking it in correctly before moving on to the more advanced skills. Class, after you've done all these drills, we're going to put them together with last week's lunge to teeter-totter drill. All right, please do not rush it. Handstands are actually a thing that takes a long time to get down. I've been coaching for 18 years, and the majority of people that come in want to learn handstands and backflips. Almost everybody learns a decent backflip before a decent handstand. It is a lot of balance and it is very difficult in the beginning. So take your time, run through the drills for a few weeks. Once you feel good, we'll put them all together. So we're gonna get into our lunge position from last week. Nice straight line through our body. I'm gonna be reaching the same distance forward as my front foot is from my back foot and kicking up. In the beginning, keep a split foot. It'll make it easier to balance. I'm gonna come here, transfer up, and I'm keeping this split foot position. All right, as you get more advanced, you can bring your feet together to a nice straight line. As I come down, always finish strong in a lunge position, no lazy landings. You wanna train yourself correctly from the beginning to create good, solid, proper body positions. All right, class. That was our spider walk handstand drill. We put it together with our lunge to teeter-totter from last week to create an actual handstand. Make sure to send this video to somebody who's working on a handstand, any friend who might be trying and having a little bit of trouble, as this is a difficult skill to master. All right, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. I love the comments, love questions about it, would love to give additional advice. All you gotta do is hit us up. Next week, we will be adding on to what we learned last 2 weeks ago with our simple vault, and we're gonna be taking it to the next level with our safety / step up vault. Make sure to check in, and we're gonna get way more into the vaulting stuff. Love your beautiful faces, and I'll see you next Tutorial Tuesday. Bye-bye.